the whole goal is to teach families how to do this because some younger generations, they don't always know how to ask questions or follow up
Okay.
or whatever. So we're going to try to teach other families.
How to ask questions.
Basically, that's basically it.
And how to
Okay.
listen.
Exactly.
Sad interruption.
Oh yeah, I forgot about writing down listening. There's like
You're a
Okay.
good listener, actually, Brent.
Well, thanks.
Am I still? Is my shadow out of the shot?
You need to be over there, is that okay? Or is
Yeah,
that-
yeah,
Is
scooch
it-
on over.
is the chair over
It's
there
way
as well?
better over here.
Yeah, just move whatever.
Okay. You'll tell me if I'm in the, whatever. Bad place.
These are just my reminders because I have dementia on both sides of my family,
Is that right?
and I already need a lot of reminders. Yeah, that's
Okay.
how I met Amanda, was through the Dementia Friendly Bloomington group.
Is that right?
And met Dana, yep. And she's helped us out with this same conference, kind of giving families an overview. I've learned a lot from her. So, okay, so,
Could I give you one thought that I had
Yes.
that really hit me yesterday is like, should be a part of our whole thing? That is, a couple of times I asked, what is it you want to share? It
and
just
that's the way to go?
doesn't get any more open than that. And then there's the follow-up,
Sure.
This can be fun, but there's lots of other prompts, but that one
So
really
that's a
struck me.
great way to start.
Okay.
David, would you like to say your name just so they get a good level for you?
Okay. My name is David White. No middle initial, no middle name.
Just like me.
Yeah. And I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. And I came to Bloomington, Indiana to teach at the university where I taught microbiology, and I really enjoyed teaching. And one of my favorite pastimes was doing puppet shows in the library for children. We were called Puck Players.
Tell me more about that. What did you enjoy about doing the puppet shows?
Well, first of all, they were hand puppets, okay? I enjoyed interacting with the children. We would do puppet shows, but we would talk with the children in the audience and try to get them to respond. And that's been a very important part of my life, is interacting with people, like you, for example,
Thank
but
you.
also children.
What did the children ever surprise you?
What do you mean by that?
Maybe they reacted in a way you didn't expect, or maybe what did you enjoy the most about working with the children?
What I enjoyed the most was how they laughed and were so happy and stuff like that. You know, that's what I enjoyed the most. I like it when, for example, I like it when I see you smiling.
Oh, well, great.
You do very well at that.
So I appreciate it. Did you have the same puppets every time?
Yes, I had actually two puppets. Our puppeteer, the one who in charge of the whole thing, was Nina Ost. She lives in Bloomington, and we were called Puck Players. I don't know if I told you that.
Mhm.
And I had two puppets, and one was made to look like me, actually. Yeah,
Like you now or like you then?
like me then. And
What stories did you tell?
as puppeteers,
Mm-hmm.
well, actually, I don't remember.
That's okay.
That's one of the things about me, and I guess others with my condition, is that we don't remember specifically very much. In other words, we remember, like I was a puppeteer, but we don't remember specifics so
Okay.
much. And I think that's probably an important aspect of what it's like to have dementia.
Oh, I appreciate you
Yeah.
teaching me that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you shared with me recently that you also worked with teenagers at one point.
Oh, yeah.
What did you
Yes,
do
I've-
with teenagers?
I went, I hope I can remember everything, but one of the things, what did I do with teenagers? What did I tell you? And just remind
You
me.
met some teens who were homeless or having
That's-
hard times
That's true.
and worked with them or met them where they were at?
Yes, I've forgotten the details already, but I know I did that, but I've forgotten the organization I was with, the
That's
name of the
okay.
organization.
Do you remember what you enjoyed about it?
Uh,
How it felt?
it always felt good to have these kids interacting and stepping into society, and that they, when they realized they had friends and people who cared about them.
Did they teach you things?
I'm sure they did. I just remember specifically.
That's all right.
Everybody teaches me things, including you.
Oh, I love it. You're like my Mr. Rogers today. You're very affirming. I appreciate it. What else? And then you also mentioned at some point you worked with inmates.
Oh yeah, I was part of that group. We were called
New Leaf.
what?
New Leaf.
New Leaf, New Life. Good for you.
What was that like?
I was a board member actually of New Leaf, New Life. What was it like? It was wonderful for me, and I think for them. And we would go into the jail, and I think I would go in and talk to them as a group. But I remember one of the things I tried to do was try to get them to find work when they got out, because one of the problems is that I think in this, if people know somebody was in jail or something, they probably hesitate to hire them.
Mm.
And so, I helped them write resumes, and the resumes, I've forgotten what they would say. Not that I've been in jail. And so that was important, and I think some of them kept in touch with me afterwards, but I can't remember the details anymore.
Oh, that's wonderful. You
Yeah.
definitely have a heart for people. I
Yeah.
know this about you already.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that it comes naturally, and my entire family were immigrants to this country, and you probably know that. We're all immigrants from Russia, and they actually escaped Russia. They were smuggled out. This was a long time ago, and they all wound up in the Boston area. And one of the things I remember about my father, who ran a store, and that's what he did. He was, and one of the things is that he at one point he owned a grocery store, and on weekends he would. I remember this because I would go with him. I worked in the store too. I started working when I was 12 years old. He would bring food that wouldn't last over the weekend over to people's houses in that area, and drop them off at the front door, and they all expected it, because that's what my dad did, and that taught me a lot. And I think other people should do similar things, is to provide for others as much as they can.
Did
Yeah.
you enjoy doing it even as a child? Because sometimes
Yes.
they're the things that your parents make you do. So
No, they didn't. No, I enjoy doing it. I mean, that's they both taught me a lot. Actually, I learned a lot from both my parents.
where do you think that sense of taking care of others comes from?
Well, my only guess is that for me, it comes from my parents.
Mhm.
And so I'm assuming that from them, it came from their parents too, from their family. I mean, I think all people learn from their parents. At least most do.
Sure.
Not all, of course, because not everyone has a good family. but a lot of people do learn from their parents, and I'm sure you did too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you like to pass on as a lesson for someone?
Okay. Okay. What I would like to pass on as a lesson to someone is don't judge people. Okay? Don't make judgments about people. And I think that one of the things about our own society is that too many people make judgments about other people, like you're not good enough for this, da 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 da. I think we should learn. All of us should learn, and not to prejudge people. That's what I mean. No, don't prejudge them because of where they're from a lot, or how they look. Okay, I could say more, but
That's
never mind.
okay. What else would you like to say about it?
Well, in our society, one of the, and not, and even before I was born, one of the things about this country, which maybe I'll say the wrong thing. People, there are lots of things about the United States of America in the past that they've not been good to other people. For example, black people, as an example, Indians, as an example, and so one of the things that we must all learn is accept other people and don't prejudge them. And that's not the way this country was. Okay.
Brent, could I interject something?
Sure.
Well, sure, go ahead.
I was thinking about the idea of family members knowing something already,
Yeah.
and then asking about a specific thing that you've kind of already been doing that. The idea would be to return to the Boston area story of the family
Yep.
gathering.
I wanted to
get
to that.
Yeah. I
Oh,
figured you
yeah.
would. But so the idea of feeding in, like we're not complete strangers with this person.
Sure.
We're not your family yet, but give us time.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
So that's the thought.
Sure.
Is that kind of like, well, we
Go
know
ahead.
this about you, but we want to know more. We've
Sh-
heard
absolutely.
about it, but more.
Go ahead, ask
So
me a question.
one of the things that you mentioned to me recently, you talked about these big family gatherings with
That's
all the
right.
extended family.
That's right.
What was that like?
What was that like? That was wonderful. And it was all like we all had this belonging, that we all belonged together. And I always liked that. I don't know, I'm not sure people do that anymore, but we all lived in the same area, so we all could. And what I liked most about it was interacting with everybody, and I can't remember specifically the way I used to remember. One of the things about me is, as I might have told you, because I've forgotten now what I've told you, is my memory of specific things is no longer there. But I remember that the best thing about the family gatherings was that everybody getting together, and of course that was a long time ago, and I don't think people do this anymore, but after the initial thing where everyone sort of said something about what was going on with their lives, the parents did, not the children. The men would play cards, and the women would cook for everybody.
Now, sometimes
That was a
in,
long time ago.
sometimes in families, when you get all of the men together and you get all the women together, there's
Yeah.
a ringleader. Was
Oh.
there a matriarch or a ringleader of the kitchen?
Not that I recall.
Okay, all right.
I was-
Everybody
I was
got
a-
along.
I was a little boy.
Who did you like to talk to when you were a little boy?
Who did I like to talk to?
Out of that group, was there one that you were really close to?
Not that I can remember.
So you just love everybody.
Well, yeah, I suppose you could say that. But I just don't have a memory of,
Oh, sure.
specifically. That was a long time ago.
You are so lucky to have such a strong family that gave you
Yeah.
such a heart for people.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. And, yeah, it should be the case with others, too.
When you were living in the Boston area, did you ever do family trips outside for vacation or summer camp or anything like that?
Okay. My family went to Nantasket Beach. My parents, I mean. We went to Nantasket Beach for the summer, which was close to Boston. And my father still worked in Boston, so he would travel. He went also with us, but he would. I can't remember how long it might have been a whole hour, something like that.
An hour away?
Yeah, something like that. And
Did you
and,
stay on the beach?
well, he had a house there.
Oh, okay.
He had made enough money to have a small house, of course.
Sure.
And it was very close to the beach. In other words, I could walk out of the house down to the beach.
Were there other kids?
Yes, I'm sure there were, but I don't remember
That-
specifically anymore. It was a long time ago.
And so if he had a house there, did you went every summer?
Yeah.
And you would stay the whole summer or for like a week?
Oh, the whole summer.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, and the whole summer. And I think when I got a little bit older, I worked locally at some store. I don't remember
Okay.
specifically anymore, but my father influenced me very much on working. That it was important to work.
What do you mentioned you worked in the grocery.
Yeah.
What were some of your other early jobs?
I don't remember. I just remember
Okay.
working in a grocery store, and an important part of that was I was a very young boy, and the only people who shopped at that time were women, because the men were in the Second World War, and the women. I remember the women all liked me, and I was a little boy,
Sure.
and.
How did you help them?
It was a long time ago, and it was when we used to. They would bring things to the counter, and we would put them in bags for them. I don't think people shop that way anymore.
Oh, gosh, I wish.
Yeah. So I put these in bags and so forth, and I was able to use the cash register.
How old do you think you were?
Oh, I was probably around 12.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often anymore.
No.
Having kids that young starting, unless
Yeah.
it's a family,
Yeah.
farm stand or something
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah.
oh, what a neat experience you had. So,
I think so. Yeah.
so when you came, let's leap ahead. So you came to Bloomington.
Yeah.
Do you remember maybe what decade or roughly? Was it the 70s? I don't know. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't ask you. Do you remember?
But I
What
can
was
guess.
Bloomington like when you got here?
Okay, first of all, I can tell you that I came to teach at the university. I must have been around 40 years old, and since I'm 86,
Okay.
it was.
Before that,
It
you
was.
worked for NASA
what?
for a little while.
That's right.
You worked for NASA?
Yes.
That's right. When I was in graduate school, my I went to Brandeis University.
Okay.
My PhD advisor got a job at NASA, Chuck Klein, and I hadn't finished my PhD work there yet, so I went with him to finish my research, and so I had the opportunity to stay at NASA. Yes.
Wow.
And what I wanted to do at the time, how old was I? In my early 20s? I can't remember. I thought I wanted to teach at a university. And so I left and got a postdoctoral in Minnesota, and made a good friend there, actually, and eventually came to IU.
Okay.
He helped me get the job here. I mean, he knew somebody, I guess, I don't remember. And I came here and taught microbiology.
And was that your field of research when you worked
Yes.
for NASA too?
Yeah, but NASA wasn't interested in, that's not what they did.
Space plants weren't their thing at that point. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Space bug
Yeah.
microbes.
Yes, but anyhow, and I came here and I wrote a textbook, as you know,
It's still used today.
and with it was published by Oxford University Press. It went through 4 editions,
Wow.
and it was all about bacteria,
Sure.
and it's sold worldwide, and
That's incredible. How many people can say that they've written a book, let alone that it's still relevant today? That's
Yeah.
incredible.
yeah, I don't know how many people, maybe 2. Oh, the other thing is I have a sense of humor, in case you haven't noticed.
I picked up on that.
Okay.
When you got to Bloomington, why did you settle here? Because you've been here quite a while.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. What I like at that time, and probably at this time too, if I were younger, about Bloomington, is in many ways it's a small town, and people interact with each other. I mean, and it's instead of living in a big city, where you hardly know anybody, in Bloomington you get to know a lot of people, and everyone interacts with them, and they say hello to each other when you walk down the street, stuff like that. And I like that very much about Bloomington. If, for example, if you go shopping in a store, I mean, you see a lot of people you know. And some of you may feel the same way. Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely.
Good. Are you from Bloomington?
Not originally, but right now.
Where are you from originally?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know that.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've
That's
heard
a
of-
pretty
I've
large
heard of
city.
it.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
What did you ever get married?
Did I?
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
you did.
Yeah.
How did that start?
How did it start? Actually, this is my second marriage. But the interesting thing is, my first wife, Paula, lives in Bloomington. Well, she lives here because she came here when we were married, and we're still good friends.
Oh, good.
And that's very nice. And one of my sons, Eric, has moved to Bloomington, and so that I see him several times a week. And
But you were starting to talk about your second wife. What was her name?
it still is.
Oh, I didn't know you were still married. I don't know. I'm getting to know you.
She's the
That's
one-
wonderful.
She's the one who drives me every place.
Oh, I
But
just
she
met
do-
her then.
But she doesn't drive me crazy.
How did you meet?
Joan? Well, she was a waitress in Bloomington, and at some place where I used to go to eat, and I met her there. And then later, well, that's how I met her, when she was a waitress in Bloomington. But then Joan became a nurse. She went to nursing school, and she became a nurse, and she took care of a lot of people. And the thing I appreciate so much about Joan is she takes care of me. Okay, with my dementia and everything. Joan is. If you're listening, Joan, hear me.
How did it feel when you first started dating? Your relationship.
With Joan. How did it feel? it felt good. She was a very interesting person to get to know, and she's very pretty. And I was a young fellow, relatively young, and not, I wasn't an old man then. I'm an old man now, though. And
Well,
and she. Oh yeah, the other thing is, I used to motorcycle a lot, and Joan and I motorcycled together in various parts of the country.
wow. Would you
Yeah.
ride all the way there? To
Yeah.
wherever it was?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, on the Harley. I rode.
Your poor back.
Yeah. No, it was a Harley Davidson. It was easy to ride.
Oh,
It was a big motorcycle.
what color was it?
My Harley?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Probably red.
Probably red. All right.
Yeah.
Is red your favorite color?
I love all colors.
I should have known. You're such a open-hearted person. I can't pick a favorite. You mentioned your son, Eric.
Yeah, he lives in Bloomington now.
Is he your only son, or do you have more children?
I have other children as well. There's Seth. Think he lives in Wisconsin. I can always forget exactly where Seth lives, and we are in contact with each other all the time through email, which is very good. Email is wonderful nowadays, and I have a daughter, Judith, and who teaches at a law school, so she has a law degree.
Gosh, those are all smart kids.
Yeah,
Who's the oldest?
Judith.
Judith is.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, how old were you when she was born, do you think?
I think I was 12 years old.
Were you in your 20s, your 30s? What do you remember?
Oh, probably
Gosh,
my
yes.
late 20s.
Late
probably,
20s?
Probably.
You're
What-
modeling how hard it is to.
I
say
know.
that.
Well, I don't want to make you feel like you have to give me an exact answer. You can kind of give me a. But so in your 20s, so
Late 20s, probably.
what was it like becoming a father for the first time?
It was wonderful, I think. I mean, I was very excited. It was family stuff, so it wasn't as if it was strange or anything like that.
Well, I don't have children, so can you?
I see.
So
What's-
I'm curious to know.
Oh, I see. Now
How do
I
you?
see
How do you? What was the experience of being a dad like?
It's a sense of belonging in a way, and having family, which I can't think of anything specific.
Sure, but it's almost like you created your own community.
Well, I did it with my wife.
Yeah, right, right.
I didn't do it by myself.
Could I ask you something?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, what do you
because
want to
I'm
ask?
starting to run out
What do you
of
want to
questions.
ask?
What attracted you to microbiology?
That's a good
You
question.
seem like a very extroverted person to me.
Yeah.
Like you love people, and yet
Yeah.
microbiology is just like so tiny.
Oh, the only thing that's tiny are the microbes.
Okay. Everything else is good.
Microbiology is, well, first of all, it's a science where you can do experimentation in the laboratory, and I love very much working in laboratory and doing experiments. Now, some people do a lot of writing to be as a creative part of their lives, but for me, doing experiments in the laboratory was a creative part of my life, and so I did that, and
Was there one particular experiment you did that just?
well, I can't remember specifically, but at the moment, but I can't think of it.
Did it come easy to you, microbiology?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Why do you think?
Why do I think it came easy to me? What do you think might be difficult about it?
I think it'd be a matter of trying to figure out how the systems work, how they interact, like it depends on what you're trying to solve, I guess.
I see. Okay. Uh, the easy part for me was it was a challenge to find out how these microbes interacted with each other, actually. And I like challenges, which is why one of the reasons I'm here. It's challenging to talk with you.
Oh, no. I hope it's not too challenging. Nell, would you like to switch seats?
Sure,
and
sure.
Talk to David for a little bit?
You want to switch your seat?
Well,
When I challenged him, he
greater than you.
I
when
know,
I
I'm right
challenged
away.
him, he wanted to get up and leave.
No, I'm enjoying this. I'm just running out of
No.
questions.
No, you're not.
And Nell's a pro at following up.
I am? Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
You mind if I move your
Oh,
notes?
yeah, please.
There's
Yeah,
so many
just
red marks. Look at that. It looks like he's been grading
What?
papers.
Well, my mom was a special ed teacher, so I use
It
red for everything.
explains so much.
Hey,
No, I'm kidding.
That's another story.
You might also ask about a safety net. Safety net paper.
Safety Net newspaper.
Oh, safety net. Did you have something to do with creating safety net or distributing safety net paper?
That's a good question.
Thank you. I'm really good at the good questions.
Do you want an answer?
I do.
Okay. I created it.
What?
I created it.
The safety net, the one that's everywhere?
That is correct.
Oh, I feel like I'm with a celebrity right now.
You certainly are.
That's awesome.
I created it. And
Tell me everything you want to tell me about that. That just sounds
Well-
fascinating.
what I wanted to do was to come out with a newspaper, a free newspaper, obviously, which gave people, in one way or another, a voice in our community, and so what Safety Net is, it's a newspaper about what goes on in our local community, about programs that reach out to people. And I often have had a special section in there called Voices Seldom Heard, and in which I would even get statements of one sort or another from people in our own community who've been helped in one way or another by the programs. And one of the important things, from my point of view, is to get other people in our community to learn more about people in need. Because one of the things, this is a university community, and so in some ways we have two levels. We have all the professors, pardon me, professors, all the people at the higher end who have their own life, in a way, and everyone else. And some people don't know, I think some people, I can't be sure anymore, what's going on. So I wanted to do something like that with Safety Net, and that's why I did it. It comes out once every 4 months.
When you say about what's going on, can you say more about that? Or
Yeah.
what was going on when you were very much involved?
What's going on means there are many people in our Bloomington community who are homeless, for example, in one way or another. Well, not one way or another. There are many people who are homeless or in need, have need of one sort of another. And one of the goals I have in mind is for people to reach out to these people and somehow not provide for them, that's not the right word, but to understand what's going on with other people, and especially true for people at the university level. They never mind.
They call it an ivory tower for a reason,
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
closed off and it's high up.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Good for you.
Thank you. I had a feeling that was kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
the
right.
very separated,
That's right.
easy to forget,
That's right. That's
or to
right.
write off the person that's on the street corner. that
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
That is correct.
So how did it get printed and stuff? How did it actually become a paper that you hold in your hand?
Oh, okay.
Was there like an organization? that did
No,
it?
it's me.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, it is me, but it's if you look at the front page, it says it's put out by SCAP, South Central Community Action Program. But actually, I do it, and I pay for it. And what I do is reimburse SCAP. SCAP gets billed, and I get a copy of the bill, and I reimburse them. So, yeah.
Who are you,
Well,
what's the word I want?
don't-
Developing to be the you later.
Hmm?
Who is going to take that over?
safety net?
Yeah.
Oh,
Who's going to do what you've been doing,
okay.
which is amazing.
The assistant editor right now,
Uh-huh.
who works for SCAP,
Mm-hmm.
I think she works for SCAP. I can't remember. I don't want to say the wrong things.
That's okay.
It's being recorded.
None of this will be used against you.
Okay. Anyhow, she takes over,
Oh, great.
and she solicits the articles, actually.
Okay.
What she does is she sends out something to all the agencies asking for articles.
And then folks there kind of find the stories that they then send, and then she kind of puts them together.
It's not simply stories, it's also what the agency is doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just an update. I
Great.
wish I had a copy of it here. If we did, I could show you what it's about.
That's
We
the
don't-
professor in you right there.
Yeah, that's- that's
where are
right.
my visuals?
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's impressive.
Yeah, I used to be a professor, right?
I don't know that you ever stop with that. My grandfather was a professor here.
Is that right?
Yeah.
In what area?
Botany, Dr. Paul Weatherwax.
That name is very familiar to
Well,
me.
Weatherwax is kind of memorable, right?
Yeah, it is familiar to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he might have retired in the late 70s, maybe early 70s. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
we may have been teaching at the same time.
I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm in my mid-80s.
Mm-hmm.
86, actually. But it's hard for me to, never
He was
mind.
born in 89, 1889.
89. Oh, I see.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
wild to know someone who, saw cars get developed and stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's an interesting avenue to go down. I'm wondering, you see a lot of changes here now, and you're really obviously into email, which is beautiful. I wish
Yeah.
my dad had lived long enough to do email. He would have been
Yeah.
very prolific.
Yeah.
Can you think of some changes that have occurred that would have just shocked you so much as, I say, a 20-year-old that are happening now that
Well, one of the things, of course, that is I've forgotten. What's the disease that's going around? I can't remember.
is it COVID,
COVID?
the pandemic thing?
The pandemic
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I mean
Yes.
that's unusual. I didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
And, everywhere we go, we have to wear a mask and stuff like that. I mean, that's, yeah,
That's a big change.
I think so,
Hmm.
yeah. People don't interact the same way we all used to.
So going to those stores that you enjoy so much,
It's
that
going to
changed
the,
a lot.
It's going to the stores, a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, yeah.
You seem to have gotten a lot out of the center that Dana is a part of.
Yeah.
Actually, what is the name of the center?
Alzheimer's resources.
So I'm Amanda.
Oh, you're Amanda, sorry.
It's the Alzheimer's and Dementia Resource Service.
Yeah.
So-
Alzheimer's
Yeah,
and Dementia Resource.
yeah, I have Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I got tipped off.
Sometimes I forget.
Wow.
And this is what we hear all the time, these funny jokes in our support groups, because he attends our support
Right.
groups.
I'll bet you are the light of the support groups, for sure.
I have a good time.
I'm thinking you do. Tell me what else delights you, David. You seem like you really have delighted in a lot of things in your life, and I'm gathering that you really love people.
That's true.
Yeah.
I love interacting with people. I like listening to music, jazz music, old songs too.
Like Ella Fitzgerald, that kind of era?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Ella is one of my favorites. And Billie Holiday, Louis Armstrong, and yeah, whenever I can, I listen to them.
That's great.
And I grew up in the Boston area, and so heard a lot of jazz and in Boston. And when I was at college, I used to go to a place called Storyville. And have you heard of Storyville?
Yes,
I
it's
used to
very
go-
famous.
I used to go to Storyville
Wow,
when I was in college.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
ever meet any of the performers? Any of your favorites?
Oh, yeah. Yes. In fact, I met Billie Holiday because I got her autograph. And I met it during an intermission of some sort. I was sitting at a table and I got her autograph, and I kept it for a long time. And unfortunately, somebody visiting my house in Bloomington found it and took it away.
Oh,
I don't know why. Probably a student or something.
that's ridiculous. God. So sorry that happened.
I have one more question.
You have another question?
Well, yeah. What was your impression of her when you met her?
Of Billie Holiday? Well, I remember her singing.
But we were right up close to her. She's doing the autograph. Were you so starstruck that it's hard to remember the moment? I know that would be true for me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I remember the other thing is that she was so pretty.
Oh,
She really was.
yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever play music yourself? Did you ever?
Oh,
get-
yeah.
Yeah?
I play the piano.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still enjoy sitting down and
Yeah, I
noodling
do.
around? Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I don't read music.
Oh, boy.
Spontaneous.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can play any song if it comes to mind.
Are you a Keith Jarrett fan?
What?
You know who he is? Keith Jarrett. He created many recordings of just pure improv on the
Is that right?
piano. You probably like him.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I'm not sure I would call it jazz, but I'm
Uh,
not an
uh.
aficionado, so I'm gonna mess it up.
Okay.
So you just sit down and you let your hands and
That's
ears
right.
do the,
That's right.
wow. What's
Yeah.
that do to you inside? What's the feeling?
It's a way for me to express myself. I mean, some people express themselves by painting and writing, and I express myself by playing the piano. Yeah.
I really want to hear you do that now.
Well, I don't see a piano in
I
here.
might actually have it. recorded
You have?
somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
He
you.
volunteers a lot in the nursing home and
Oh.
assisted living.
You
Yeah.
go into nursing homes and volunteer and play? You play?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's
I
sweet.
used to. I don't travel around the way I used to.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is a really good modeling of you remembering certain things that help. It's kind of like I think it is kind of like when you're wicking out. There's probably a better metaphor, but
Mhm.
because I know this is true for me. I think I don't really remember a whole thing,
Yeah.
and then I start looking at photographs
Oh,
of the
yeah.
era,
Yeah.
and oh boy, it just rushes back.
Yeah. Same with me.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it would be interesting at some point. I do this every time we do a project, and I'm like, next time.
Yeah.
But music, playing a piece of music, and then just letting whatever comes up,
That's
come up.
right.
And
That's
you
right.
looking at a photograph
Yeah.
any time of your life,
Yeah.
and Because so much comes up. For me, I know, that's for
Yeah.
sure true.
Yeah,
Yeah. So hearing a piece of music,
that's right.
do you let music kind of influence what you would do on the piano? Like, is a certain kind of music, does a certain kind of music make you want to sit down and express yourself?
I'm not sure I'd say that.
Mm-hmm.
I like, I just like doing it. If there was a piano in here, I'd play it. Next time I come, bring a piano.
Right.
Get your handler to bring a piano everywhere you go.
All right.
Joan.
Tell Joan.
My handler. Yeah,
Yeah.
she does hand me
At least it can travel.
yeah,
That's the amazing thing about piano and anything like that is that it lives in your subconscious.
that's
All
right.
that stuff just comes out of you.
Good for you, you're right.
Isn't that amazing? And
Yeah.
and you really can just, it's almost like you're watching yourself do it.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, do you feel that way?
Not that I'm watching myself do it, it just comes
Yeah.
out spontaneously.
Yeah. What
It's-
I
it's a
mean
way
is that you get
it's a
to
way-
observe.
It's a way of expressing myself,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Would you
true.
say you do it when you're especially a certain emotion or another, or is
No.
it just anything?
Just anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just feel like playing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll go over to the piano and play.
Do you have a piano at home?
Yeah.
That was a silly question on my part.
Well, it's an old piano, and it's a very special piano
Mm.
because it's going to be an interesting story for you. It belonged to a friend of mine who has since passed away, but when she was ill, I used to visit her in her home, as did a lot of people. And she had a piano there, and I would play the piano for her, and she would listen to it. And what I didn't realize is that when she died, she had left the piano for me.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know that until after she passed away.
So you were surprised by somebody notifying you and
That's
saying,
right. That's right.
wow.
Yeah. And so it's in one of my rooms in the house.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love the thought of you just spontaneously sitting down
Yeah.
and playing.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to ask me?
What do you want to ask me?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why did you move to Bloomington?
I moved to Bloomington because I was born here.
You were born here.
I was,
Ah,
yes. So I moved, from the other side or something. I don't know. My mother gave birth to me in the Bloomington Hospital.
is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Did
And
you-
then I went to college here.
I was going to ask you that.
Hmm
You went
I
to
got 2
IU?
degrees from IU.
I think you might have told me that. What were the degrees in?
I did the individualized major program.
Oh, yeah.
You might have had some sponsors in that. You might have had some students in that program
Okay.
yourself. That's where you pull together different majors, and you get a sponsor, like a professor, who helps you put together your own major. It's a
Okay.
College of Arts and Sciences liberal arts degree,
Okay.
like microbiology.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then later I did the master's in counseling.
In counseling?
Hmm So those were my 2 things that I
Yeah.
did here.
Yeah.
I've lived other places. I always feel like I need to tell people that because, like,
You lived other
I
places.
did live elsewhere, but Bloomington brings me home for very many of the same reasons you just described.
That's right.
I love seeing people I know,
Yeah.
like the one cashier at Blooming Foods who knows me by name, we know all about each other's art.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes.
Yeah.
This is fun because I'm thinking that you've been quizzed down, and now if you ask me things, then it's going to help me think of. I get to know more about how you see the world.
When I ask you questions?
Yeah, and then it'll help me get to know you better.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more. That's a kind of a good thing to note.
Okay. He's going to write it down.
Yeah, he's noting.
Hey, Nell is my coach today.
I see. I can
Well,
tell.
I'm learning how to do this
Yeah?
myself, actually,
Okay.
and it's been really very cool.
Okay.
So look at me. What do you want to know? I'm an open book.
Okay. What I'm not sure of is, what is this program about? I'm part of this program, and other people have been interviewed.
Can I tell you my version of it? Because
Yeah.
Brent
Yes,
does a
please.
great version of it,
Yeah,
and it might be cool for you to hear how I've heard it.
yeah,
Okay.
go
Because you
ahead.
could correct me, and then I'd be better at it.
We're making it up as we go.
Well, you have a
Yeah.
really, really good. Well, that's part of the beauty of this.
Yeah,
So a few years ago,
yeah,
the Conference on Aging, is that the whole name of it?
WTAU
WTAU
yes.
Conference on Aging
okay.
was put together to help folks in the community. At first, it was just our community access resources.
Okay,
And it used to be a live thing where people would go to little sessions and watch people talk about it. And then with COVID coming,
yeah,
and there was less in person or no in person, it became something that was done over Zoom. And so there's these little programs that are like an hour long usually. People watch them and they learn things about how to sign up for Medicare, where's a good hearing aid, how do you look into hearing aids, things that are relevant to folks that are usually like over 50. Is that really where you start?
yeah, over
I'm
50.
61, so already I'm hearing about things that I'm thinking, wow, that would be a really good thing, like financial advisor people and stuff like that. So Brent was a longtime fan of my show, which was a storytelling show
I see, storytelling show.
where people tell their true stories.
Okay,
So if I had you on my show,
yeah, I
I
would tell
would-
the truth.
yeah, tell the truth, only the truth. I look for the thread, and one thread that I have heard from you that has been so beautiful to hear
Is what?
is from very young, you saw the value of a strong community,
That's true.
and it impacted you like
Yeah.
deeply.
Yeah,
Like it's how you're wired, you know.
yeah, that's right.
And that has followed you through, not followed, it has been a driver for you.
Yeah,
And that, I just love that about you. I don't know how to say that other way. So you know, maybe you don't remember specific details, whatever, about things, but the thing that is really clear that
Yeah.
is always going to be there for you
yeah,
is your capacity for connection.
yeah.
Yeah. And humor is one of my favorite ways.
My humor?
I've heard you're a funny guy.
Oh, my wife must have told you that.
Yeah, and humor is a great way to connect. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking you brought humor into programs like New Leaf when you would go into the jail.
Yeah,
By the way, I've been in the jail too.
as an inmate?
No, not yet. There's
Not
still
yet.
time.
Yeah, you got the future to look forward
Yeah,
to.
hey, I just started living.
Yeah.
So, no, I used to go in and do HIV/AIDS prevention programs
Oh, is that right?
around communication,
Yeah,
teaching people how to actually talk about the stuff that you need to talk about to stay safe, basically.
yeah.
And I did it with theater, little theater, improvisational theater programs. So I'm very close to that world, or used to be a lot more. But so I love that you did that because wow, once you're in there, you stop thinking of those folks as other. They are not other. You know, they're us,
That's correct.
and it seems like you really,
Yeah,
yeah. So anyway, I would grab the feeling that you got from that big family, who really bonded from having to, you know, basically be smuggled out of Russia.
that's right.
Wow.
They were smuggled out, that's
Yeah.
true.
I mean, the horror of that, you
Yeah.
know. And you were really young when that was happening, or were you born in
I was
this-
born in this country.
in the okay.
Yeah.
So you heard the stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was born in this country.
Yeah. I figured that was,
Yeah,
yeah. So you got to hear the stories of, you know, that world and
that's right.
the escape.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is, you know, wow, how impactful, right?
yeah,
And then you carried that through. And so many different things you've done, including this.
yeah. Here I am.
Yeah, choosing to be a part of this.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. And this part, I didn't get to this part. See, this is why you're better at this than I am. Brent loves storytelling. He
Yeah.
came to my show, and then one day he ran into me in this building where I work as an academic advisor
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing." And I said, "Hey, what's your budget?" It was
We haven't
so
talked
rude.
about for this year, but it's gonna be more.
Oh, a little tiny bit more maybe.
Okay.
And, you know, I've learned to do that as an artist because,
Good.
yeah. But he responded immediately, let me check that out. And then next thing you know, I'm doing it every year I think I missed 1 year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first COVID year.
Yeah, I was out of my mind with
We did
myself.
genealogy and family researching your family heritage and that stuff that year.
But I have a whole different angle on that.
You too?
Yeah, because I'm an artist. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a sociologist. I'm an artist, and my art is story.
Storytelling?
Yeah, true story.
Mm-hmm.
And I love knowing folks' true stories.
Okay.
So one of the things I often do with people is I ask them really personal questions.
Ask me a personal question.
Okay, tell
She's
me.
going to ask me a personal question now.
Okay.
What's your personal question?
Is anything okay?
What is anything?
Is
Anything?
any arena, any part of your life I can ask about?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh my goodness, he's up for anything, folks.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Tell me about falling in love with your first wife.
Paula.
Yeah, you fell in love with her. You're still friends,
Yeah.
which is cool. I'm still friends with my ex too, by the way.
Sure.
We have a lot in common. Tell me about falling in love with her. Anything at all that you want to share about it?
Well, we went to school together. We got to know each other. We went to Brandeis University together, and we got to know each other, and we interacted well with each other. And that's an important part of people getting together, is in the way they interact. And we interacted with each other and very well. And we still do, by the way. And what other questions do you want to ask me?
Were there any specific moments of that time that stand out? I'm always curious about the kinds of things that really, happened during the courtship.
Well, I can't think of anything specific except when I was going to make something up that was supposed to be funny, but I couldn't think of anything.
I do it all the time. If my timing were better, I would have the right thing to say.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
Well, we went to school together, and we had the same friends. We went to Brandeis, and so we interacted well with each other. And okay, and one of our friends was Abby. Does Abby Hoffman, that name sound familiar?
Oh, sure.
To you? Abby was a friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah, really. How do you remember Abby?
Well, I know he was very
He was part of the Chicago 7.
socially, yeah. He did.
Yeah.
I don't remember the super specifics, but it's a very common, famous name
Oh, yeah.
around social things. That's all
Yeah.
I can say about that.
Abby was a friend of mine. And,
But he didn't radicalize you.
no.
Would you say your politics are left-leaning?
What do you think?
I think you're very left-leaning.
Absolutely.
That you and Bernie Sanders would have great long talks
That's
if you
That's
could sit
correct.
down with him.
If he would listen to me.
If you- That's a really good point.
Anyhow,
Did you ever consider running for office?
is that true? Is that a true question?
Yeah.
No.
No, because I'm, somebody who's very into social change as you are, and you're also really into people. It seemed like a possibility.
No, I was a professor at IU. I mean, how would
Yeah.
I run for office?
I don't know.
No, but I have, I think in the past supported various candidates, but I can't remember specifically
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, I'm a card-carrying liberal lefty myself.
Okay, so am I.
Yeah,
Where's your card?
yeah, right here. I used to be a mime, so you have to believe that.
Oh, I can read your fingertips.
I think we're ready to wrap.
I have one more
Ready to wrap?
question, but
Ready to wrap?
Well, I have one more question, but I don't
Okay.
know if you can
Give you
explain-
an answer, an honest answer.
Well, so
What's the
you
question?
have this mind for science,
Correct.
and this mind for people, and this mind for expressing yourself through the piano.
Yeah.
Where do you think the connection is, especially between science and this artistry of expressing yourself with the piano? Like, how does science and creativity, how do those go together? Or do they? Are they just different sides of the same person?
I think they're two different things. And, you know, in science, what they both involve is thinking. Okay? And to express yourself with other people, you have to think, right? And to do science, you have to think. So thinking, and I do a lot of that, and I think we all do. Can lead and oops. Are you ready?
No, it's just my phone going off again.
Thinking is a way of going from point A to point B, and it can be in any field, music, science, just expressing yourself. That's important. Okay.
Well, we are really, really lucky that you
Yeah.
chose to express yourself with us.
Thank you. And
Absolutely.
it was a pleasure for me to be here.
Oh, I'm glad.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have a couple of things that
What'd you say?
I have a couple of things. He's been such an advocate for everyone. He's also an advocate for dementia friendly.
Right.
He's sat on panels and talked about that.
Yep.
He's helped pass the torch in other counties where they're becoming dementia friendly. He also, like, we talk a lot in our groups about how creative mind comes about because when we have dementia, it moves asymmetrically so that, you know, those things that are happening on that left side of the brain, that is more numbers and, you know, those
Logic,
concrete
rational.
things
Analytical.
are begin to go away, but creative mind comes out.
Comes out a lot more. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what she said, but
Sorry.
oh, she's got a mask on.
I know, I can barely
I'm so
hear.
Sorry.
So yeah, she was talking about you sitting on panels and being a dementia-friendly advocate.
Oh yeah, I've done that. I think, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the right brain, which we tend to talk about right brain, left brain, you know, left
Yeah.
being logic, right being
Yeah.
creative, that
Yeah.
the creativity is coming out more and more and that we should celebrate that.
Absolutely.
And that's a really beautiful thing. The people
Yeah.
who didn't ever draw are all into drawing and painting.
Yeah.
You know, when the left brain sort of quiets down. I'm not sure if I'm talking about that correctly, but yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you, David. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciated
listening
getting
to me
know
and
you.
talking with me.
Yeah, thank you for all the good work you do. It's so beautiful, and I really am honored to meet the creator of Safety Net.
Oh, that's
My own
good to
brother
hear.
was homeless, lived with homelessness, or however we're supposed to say it now.
Your brother lived home.
My brother, he had mental problems, and he suffered from addiction, and there was a time when he simply refused all housing and lived on the street. It was
In Bloomington?
no, it was elsewhere.
Okay,
Yeah, very, very hard for the family.
I'm sure.
So yeah, you got me right here with that.
Yeah.
So he's gone now, but
Okay.
it was a rough time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I never look at folks that are out like that and think, you know, well, get a job or whatever the
Yeah,
how people
I know what you mean.
categorize that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.